What's up guys, AJ here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the truth about internet leads. I see all the time being posted in Facebook groups, agents asking me about it, or sometimes complaining to me about it. They say that internet leads suck oftentimes, is basically what they're saying. They might be saying, oh, I got 70 leads in the last 2 months and converted 0, or some variation of that. And you might have the same experience. I can tell you this. It's not that the leads suck, it's that you just don't know the game that you're playing. So for example, if you knew that for every 100 Facebook/Google leads, we call them pay-per-click leads, that you receive, you should only be closing like 2 or 3. If you're newer to the game, even 1% might be your conversion rate. So you need 100 leads to close 1 transaction. Or if you're really good at it, 3% could be a metric. So 3%, I got a fly flying around here, so they're loving the stinking internet leads that I'm talking about here. No, but for real. So where was I? Geez, that threw me off. So if you're getting good at internet leads, then maybe 3% would be a better metric. So if you've received 70 leads and haven't closed anything, well, my expectation for you, even if you're good, is to close 1 out of every 33. So you might be able to get 2 closings from those 70 leads, but it takes time, because the other thing about pay-per-click leads is that the buying cycle is longer, because they're coming in to your world through first a Google ad. So Google ads and Facebook ads, I'm just gonna lump into pay-per-click, but they're slightly different. So Google ads, just think about it. So they're typing in Charlotte homes for sale, $200,000 plus, or whatever they may be searching. They're typing in a specific keyword, right? So they're a little more higher quality than Facebook ads, because a Facebook ad, they're scrolling their news feed, they see a pretty house, and then they register to maybe get more pictures. So they're just scrolling, whereas a Google lead, they're actually searching for homes using a search engine. But with both leads, they haven't yet inquired on a specific property, so they're a little bit farther away than finding a property that they're ready to do something with, or go see, or get pre-approved to see if they qualify for it. They're just in the very, very early phases. So those are pay-per-click leads. So when you know the game you're playing, it makes it a little bit easier, right? When you know the rules, you know the expectations. So when you know that you need to get at least 30 to 40 leads per month to close 1 transaction, really best case, well, then you know the target you got to hit, and you really don't get frustrated. Remember, with pay-per-click leads, you got to have a very strong lead follow-up system. You got to be texting, you got to be calling. I mean, you really got to text and call within the first 5 minutes, because when they register on your site, that's the best time, the highest opportunity you're going to have to get a hold of them. So it's very quick response, and it's a long-term follow-up sequence, because buyers, if you've been in the game for a little bit, you know they're hard to get a hold of. They're not trying to talk to an agent yet. Next, we have Zillow, Realtor, and I'll throw OpCity in there. OpCity, if you haven't heard of it, they charge a referral fee when you close the deal, so that's kind of their model. Now, these lead sources are in a different category. They're more expensive, but they're quicker to closing on a house, because they're inquiring on a specific property. So you might get a Zillow lead one day that's just like, yeah, I'd like to go see that house. You go show it, and they write an offer on it, because they know exactly what they're looking for, so they're inquiring on specific properties. So between these 2 different buckets, if you're really wanting to do buyer lead generation, which as an individual agent, I don't recommend it. I recommend you focus on sellers. If you're building out a team though, that's when you want to start buying buyer leads to really feed your team those leads. However, if you are an individual, the only lead source that I'd really be looking at is the Zillow, the OpCity, and the Realtor.com, because your time is valuable. The conversion rates on these could be 1 out of every 10, 1 out of every 15. So rather than calling 30 to 40 leads to get 1 closing, you only got to call 10 to 15. So your time is very valuable, and as an individual agent, you need to also be spending a lot of time with working your sphere, looking for listings, and working your past clients. So if you're going to spend money on buyer leads as an individual agent, that's what I would recommend. The cost per lead, the cost per closing is going to be a little bit higher, but you're buying back your time, you're buying back your energy, because the follow-up sequence isn't as intense and it isn't as long. However, if you're looking to start a team, or if you have a team, a good blend is what you're looking for, because by including pay-per-click and the Zillow, the Realtor.com, because the lead cost for Zillow, Realtor.com is going to be up here, pay-per-click's going to be down here. So when you average the two out, your cost per closing starts to equal out a little bit. So your cost to acquire a customer goes down when you have a blend. And then also, it's just really expensive to keep your buyer's agents busy if you're spending just exclusively on Zillow. I mean, it could be $200-300 a lead if you're in a more expensive market. I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed to find anything less than $100 per lead. So the leads are expensive, and to really give enough to your buyer team to keep them busy and keep them feeling like they're building out a good pipeline and having a lot of conversations, it's just too expensive to go that route, and your cost to acquire a customer is too high. So when you have pay-per-click leads coming in too, they feel like they're busy and productive, talking to a lot of clients and building out that pipeline. So it really creates good energy and momentum for that buyer's agent. Look at the math though behind this when running a team, and this is why running teams can be tricky and not that profitable. So if you're buying Zillow leads, and let's say you can convert 1 out of every 15, and the average lead is $200. Well, then that's 200 times 15, $3,000, and say the average commission is $9,000, which in most markets that's probably maybe a little high. You're netting $6,000 on that deal, right? But that's you as an individual agent. Let's say it's a buyer's agent. They're not going to care about the leads as much as you, because they're not the ones spending the money on it. Their talent level is probably not yet where yours is when it comes to scripts and having good conversations, and their tenacity around calling the leads and being aggressive with their follow-up isn't going to be as high as yours, because their skin's not in the game. So their conversion rate might be 1 out of every 20. So 20 times $200, that's $4,000. Take that same deal, $9,000 commission check, say they're on a 50-50 split with you, they get $4,500, you get $4,500. Well, if you paid $4,000 to acquire that customer, your net profit on that is only $500. And that's the reality with teams. I talk to team owners and brokerages every single week looking at their numbers, and this was true for myself. If the owner of the brokerage, if the team leader is not also in production, their profits are very minimal. I'm talking less than 10% if it exists at all. Sometimes we're running at a deficit. So you gotta be really careful with that. You have to know your numbers before you really start investing heavily into different lead gen sources. Really the biggest takeaway that I want you to have from this video is, if you're an individual agent, you should not be spending money on internet leads, buyer leads. You should be focused on sellers. Sellers are just so much better in terms of leverage, time spent. Listings also generate other leads. There's just so many benefits to being a listing agent over a buyer's agent. However, if you are looking to generate buyer leads because maybe you're a little intimidated from working sellers because you're a newer agent or whatever, then start with Zillow, because those are going to be the leads best for you at the beginning. They are expensive, however, you're not going to drive yourself crazy trying to follow up with them and manage a huge pipeline. If you're looking to build a team, do a blend of them. And if you are running a team, you need to be really providing about 30 to 40 leads per agent on your team per month. So if you have 10 agents on your team, you need to be providing 300 to 400 leads to your team per month. So as you can see, the overhead starts to get pretty high. So just some things that I wanted to share with you today about internet leads. All the leads are good, you just got to understand the game that you're playing and play that game, and not get disappointed when the first leads that start flowing in are not converting. Be patient with it and track your numbers, and then look at your conversion rates. And when you know your conversion rates, if they're lower than the 1 to 3% for pay-per-click, or the 1 out of every 10 or 15 for Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads, then you start to look at your process. Maybe you need to improve your scripts. Maybe you need to improve your follow-up processes. All the leads are the same. All the leads are good leads. It's just a different game. So I just wanted to share my thoughts around internet leads with you today. Hopefully it helps. When I had my real estate team before I sold it, I used to spend about $6,000 a month on Zillow leads and another couple $1,000s a month on pay-per-click leads. So we ran that business model at a very high level. And I can tell you, even when I was running it, it wasn't very profitable. I gave you that Zillow example already, so you can kind of see that the profit margins are skinny. And if your team's not on 50-50 splits, or if you're thinking about starting a team where they're on better than 50-50 splits, you can see that there's not really any money, and you might just be chasing your tail and even running at a deficit. So hopefully this saves you some time, energy, heartache, tears, blood, all that. All right, we'll see you guys. If you got some value, my ask as always is to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.